welcome to my channel. Today I'm showing you 3 looks with the new, well, the newer of the 2 Mikayla palette with Glamlite. I've been doing a lot of looks with it this week, off and on camera, and I filmed 3 of them. This is the last one. And they're all very colorful, very fun. I really like this palette, so I was excited to do some more looks with it. I hope you enjoy it. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Cecile. I upload videos on makeup and fashion a couple of times a week, and I would love to share them with you. So if that sounds interesting to you, then please consider subscribing. Also, like this video if you like these looks, and maybe I'll do one with Mikayla part 2 as well. So without any further ado, let's go right into look number 1. So let's hop right into look number 1. Of course, I already did one look when I gave an overview of the palette, but this will be a separate video. What shall we do for today? I'm wearing very neutral clothes, and I thought it would be kind of fun to do a more neutral look, or at least something with the more toned down greens. So I think that's just what I'm going to do. There are a lot of pretty golden, bronzy shades in this palette that I think should be used as well. Let me zoom you in a little bit. I have this brush, it's from Boozy Shop. I got it as a free gift at some point. It's the large blender. And I'm just going to bust it out. So we're going to start with Beauty Kills, which is this deep green. Picking up some. Oh, by the way, I primed my eyes using the Glamlite Icing Primer today. I know I said that I thought it wasn't the best with the Glamlite formula for some reason. But then I used a different primer and my eyeshadows also creased a little bit. So I'm not sure what's causing it. It could be the shimmer formula, it's very wet. But I'm just giving it another try. So I'm just putting this green all in the outer corner, halfway in the crease, really trying to pack it on. And then I'm blending it out with the same brush. This first look is probably going to be pretty simple. And since there aren't really any shades that are lighter than this one in the same sort of color family, I think I'm going to try to blend it out using only this shade. And I think it's working. Of course, it's a hot day again, and I just did my brows and they're already falling down. This is just something that keeps happening to me. So I blended it out nice and far. There is a little bit of a line right here. That's also because that's where the brow gel starts, and I haven't really figured out how to deal with that yet. I think it'll be fine. Let's just do the other eye. See, for the other eye I went in slightly lighter layers, and I think that makes blending it out easier. This blend is a lot prettier than this one. I really like the fact that she put this murky kind of green together with those more punchy greens. It's not something I usually do, but I might experiment with combining warm tones and cool tones this way. Also putting this underneath the lower lash line. I'm not sure about this brush. It's very slick somehow. It doesn't really grab onto the pigment. It feels very plasticky. If you want cheap brushes and you're from around here, I would actually recommend the Essence brushes. They're very cheap, but I really like them. Ooh, I like this. I really like this green. It's not my typical kind of green. I would usually instantly go for this row, but I wanted to switch it up a little bit. So now I'm taking my small pencil brush from Too Faced and I'm going into the Blackest Black. And I'm just dabbing a little bit right there in the inner corner. Now I'm going back with that different brush and I'm going to see if I can blend it out without any additional product. Which I think works perfectly. Maybe just a little bit more right over there. I think if I clean this up, it's going to look fine. So now let's go into some fun shimmers. I'm going to go into Stabis, which is this one over here. I was editing my first look video, and I think this is short for Starbucks, but that's just something I kind of thought. Anyway, I'm trying to keep this halfway to the lid, slightly into the crease, but not further than that. And I'm specifically using this small shader brush and not my finger to make sure that I don't bring it up too high. Even this deeper metallic has a really nice glittery finish. Cleaning up this brush, and I'm going into 11, 20, 21, which is sort of a bronzy shade, and I'm putting that more on the inner side of the lid. Just like that. This is a really nice luxe feeling shade. It's not just the color of it, it's also how creamy and pigmented it is. I'm going back with that first fluffy brush and I'm going to go over the edges. And now the shimmer will get a little bit into the crease, but I don't mind that. I just didn't want it all the way up to my brows today. Now I'm taking this pencil brush and I'm going into Glazed, which is really just a white metallic with maybe a slight green twist. And then finally I'm taking that same brush and I'm going into Insane, which is this green metallic, and I'm putting that underneath the lower lash line. I wanted to put this on the lid, but I got distracted by that other shade, so I'm putting it here. So I think that's it for the eyeshadow. I feel like this look will look a lot better when I put on my mascara, my base makeup and everything, but the shadows themselves are beautiful. I am going to take my finger and I'm going into this bronzy shade and I'm just going to intensify it a little bit. I know I said I wanted to use the brush, but this does look a little bit more like it looks to me in the pan. I guess a gold inner corner would have been a little bit more pretty, perhaps. I could try to mix it in with glitter, but it's pretty deep. Oh, but that does work. See, that gives it a slightly more green finish. Now it's fully monochrome, which is something I really like. So that's it. I'll show you the finished look in just a little bit. So I'm back. This is my finished look. It's very hot, so my eyebrows fell down immediately, my forehead kept sweating, and I don't know, I guess I exercised not too long before I started filming, and that's always a bad idea, but I had time now. Anyway, I finished up the look using Demi Wispies from Ardell, a dark green eyeliner from Chanel, and this electric green eyeliner from NYX, the Epic Wear in Emerald Cut in my lower lash line. Then I used my Givenchy Skin Caring Matte Foundation, since I thought I was quite dewy already. And on top of that I used my Pat McGrath concealer and my Essence powder. I used the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, which I just hit pan in, so that's always exciting. I also used this blush and this highlighter from this palette. And I used my Chanel lipstick from Holiday 2021 in the shade 107 Or Beige. Oh, and in my brows I used some Clarins brow powder, that's in my Project Pan. And I used the Catrice Brow Gel, which also won't hold up my brows, but that's really, if the pink honey doesn't do it, then nothing's going to do it, but I wanted to give it a try. So this is my first look using the Mikayla Paht 2 collection, and let me know what you think, and let's hop into look number 2. So, are you ready for look number 2? I actually did a second look myself, or by myself, yesterday, and I was really proud of it, and I was so sad that I didn't film it. So I thought today, I'm not going to take that risk, I'm just going to film it. And if it turns out worse than the one from yesterday, then I'll just have to repeat that one for look number 3. So I've seen a lot of reviews, and I've seen a lot of people use, what's it called? Monochromatic looks. So they use only the greens or only the purples or whatever. And I just don't think that's a lot of fun. I mean, you could buy separate color stories with just those colors, but they are combined in this palette. So I kind of wanna, I know I did an exception for the first look, but that was because it was a different type of green. I just want to do something different. I know this is also something that people have been doing, but not as much. So I'm going to combine the colors. So I'm going to take my tapered blending brush from Boozy Shop. It's completely clean. And I'm going to take, oh wait, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 13 and I'm going to put that above my crease. I think the plan for today is to do a smoky eye and to make it transform from green to blue and then some purple on the lower lash line. I can see that vision. So I'm just taking 13. And I noticed in the reviews that on a lot of people this shade actually looks more blue than it does green. And I know it's sort of a minty green, so there is a little bit of blue in there. I just thought that was interesting. So I've been having a lot of fun with the Mikayla palettes again. I have a new journal, and every week I can put the inspiration of the week. So for this week, the inspiration is Mikayla x Glamlite, the first palette and the second one. Because I've been playing with both of them. And of course I also love my other palettes, but I've just sort of been inspired by these. They're both so different and they both have so many shades. So I feel like I can go on for weeks and weeks just doing this. So now I'm going into Fall River, which is the slightly deeper one. And I'm going to put that more lower, more in my actual crease. So now that my vacation is over and my year at university has officially kicked off, I'm more excited than ever to change up my routine every once in a while and make a video. So I was wondering if I would still have time. But so far, I definitely still do have time. So now I'm going straight into the Commons, which is the dark green. And I'm putting that also in the crease, but just a little bit lower and also halfway onto the lid. And I think I should have started with this one, because I feel like it's not as dark as it could have been. And I do remember now that I did see some reviews last year when the first Mikayla palette launched, where she replied to someone saying that this palette is best when you apply the dark mattes first. That's just not the way I usually do things, so I kind of forgot about that. But it's fine. So now I'm taking a small pencil brush, and this is actually, I'm not sure where it's from, but it's a slightly longer pencil brush, and I'm going into the black. And I'm just going to put that, see, this black does build. I think it's just that one green shade that's a little bit more powdery. So I'm putting this on the lid and also slightly into the crease. With this, I'm sort of doing what I actually wanted that dark green shade to do. This truly is a very good black. It's pigmented, it blends, it builds. It's still a little bit powdery. All of these mattes are, but I can live with that. Taking it up just a little bit higher. Now I'm going into Cody James, which is the one green matte that I didn't use yet. And see if I can use this to blend out the black. Since it didn't work so well with the commons. Yeah, that works out nicely. So now I'm going back into my original brush and back into Fall River. Just going to smoke out the upper part a little bit more than I did initially. Wiping off the brush on my hand, and I'm going into 13 again, that lightest green shade, and I'm just blending out the edges. And I'm basically taking it all the way up to my brow, but since it's such a light shade, I think that's okay. One final sweep as a blend. Just making some small circular motions around that black. But I think it's blended out fine. So now I want to go into You, which is this beautiful blue metallic. And I'm taking my finger and I'm putting that all over the lid. And I'm trying to keep it a little bit lower. So it's okay if it overlaps with the black, but it shouldn't overlap with the green. So I'm only putting it ever so slightly into my crease, but not too high. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted this to be. So I'm taking my small brush again and I'm going back into the black. I'm just going over that edge. I'm actually taking it up a little bit higher. Now that I've put the green higher, I kind of want to put the black higher as well. And also I kind of want to keep the smokiness higher up. See the difference? Here my eyebrow comes forward way too much, and here it's more smoky all the way. I like this side better. Going back into Cody James, the mid-tone green. Trying to keep it low, but still trying to blend out the black. And this way it blends perfectly into my other green shades. But just to be sure, I'm going into Fall River with this brush. Just going over the edges here. But I'm not going to intensify the lighter green. And I did it again. I keep bringing my brush all the way to my brows and it just doesn't look that nice. Let me just wipe that off a little bit. Just doesn't look good on my eye shape. So now of course there's a hole, but that's okay. I'm just taking a little bit of Fall River and now I'm trying to keep it a little bit more contained. That's better. I do need to take a little bit more of the black because I wiped some away. See, I think that looks a lot prettier. Alright, let me quickly clean up a little bit of this mess. So now it's time to do the lower lash line, and I'm first going into the black with the same brush and I'm trying to keep it very close to my lash line. But I really should be using a slightly smaller brush for this. It doesn't need to be built up to full intensity, because my plan is to go over with a different shade. So I'm taking this flat, fluffy shader brush and I'm going into Authenticity, which is this deep purple. And I'm putting that right over the black shade. I just wanted to make sure that it was extra deep. So now I feel like I need something on the inner corner. And I'm going to take first Sparkly, this shimmery duochrome, and I'm putting that more on the lower part of the inner corner. Slightly into my lower lash line, but not entirely. That's why I'm using this teeny tiny brush. So I'm cleaning up that brush a little bit and I'm going into Pop-In, which is the more blue shimmer. And I'm taking that on the rest of my inner corner. And I'm trying to keep it contained. Yeah, that's nice. That's perfect. One final little blend with my first brush. And that's it for the eye look. I'm going to add some lashes probably and some face makeup, and I'll show you the finished look in just a little bit. So here's my finished look. I finished up the look by adding my Ardell 3D Faux Mink lashes in the style 858 and some black eyeliner. I also used the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation in Dewy and my Pat McGrath concealer and my Essence powder because they're almost done and I'm just trying to get them out of my collection. I used the Makeup Revolution cream bronzer with a little bit of the Chanel powder bronzer. I used my Dior blush, which I think I also used in the previous look, but let me just get it. This one. And I used highlighter from Lethal Cosmetics, a nice pinky one. And then I used the Mikayla lip kit to finish it up. And also I usually forget to do this, but it makes a big difference. So I took this slightly smaller blender brush and I took a little bit of the deeper purple and the lighter purple to smoke out underneath my eyes, and I feel like that really blends everything together. It does make it a little bit more intense, but this is a very intense look. You just can't get around that. So I really like this one. I hope you do too, and I'll see you in look number 3. So it's time for the third and final look. For today I want to make it as colorful as possible and not necessarily very deep. I am wearing this sort of aqua colored shirt and earrings, so I feel like all of these tones should fit with them. I primed my eyes using the Glamlite Icing Primer in the shade Classic Vanilla. I do think this is a good primer with the palette after all. You just have to make sure it's spread out very evenly, that there's not a thick layer, and that you really tap out the shimmers as well. And then I do think it's pretty much crease proof. So I'm going to start by taking this small blender brush by Essence. There's a little bit of pigment left on it, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I'm going into Mama Wong, or is it just Wang? I was thinking about Michelle Wong, but I'm not sure. I'm going to put this in the inner crease. I think I'm also just going to put this in the inner corner. I feel like that's kind of pretty. I've been playing with this palette for 4 days in a row now, and I really like it. I do believe that it's best if you want the deepest look to start with the deepest shade, but that's just something that I have to think about because that's just not my usual way of doing it. But it's not really a problem. It's not really the palette's fault or anything. And I do believe that the black builds on top of anything, so that's always handy. I'm going into No Harsh Lines, which is the pale blue, which I'm going to put in the outer, well, it's not really my crease, it's above my crease, but the outer half of my eye. I like the fact that the pastels in here are so pigmented. I like the color combination as a whole. Yeah, this palette really has everything you need if you want to make a nice jewel toned, colorful look. And then underneath the lower lash line, I'm going in with 13, which is the pale mint shade. I think I'm maybe just going to make this a cotton candy look and not deepen it up at all. Or at least not a lot. My look yesterday was so dramatic that I'm kind of in the mood for something a little bit more light. So I'm making an effort to blend the outer corner, but I'm not really blending the inner corner much because these shades don't mix that well. So that's my colorful edge, my circle around my eyes. Now I am going to put something in the outer corner that's a little bit deeper. which is going to be Wicked Awesome, which is this blue. I'm just going to take a little bit on the same brush, stamping it in the outer corner, blending it up into the blue. I'm not going to take it any higher than this. The beauty of using the dark blue as the deepening shade is that it mixes well with the mint, the blue and the purple. I guess I'm also taking the teensiest bit right here in the outer corner. I just like that darkness to be all around my outer corner. And I think that's going to be everything for the mattes. So now let's add a fun shimmer. I'm going to take Cloud 9, could be kind of pretty, this one. It'll match nicely with my shirt as well. I'm going to take this pretty much all over the lid. Trying not to take it too high. This is a really nice sparkly shade. Oh, it's wonderful. And then I'm taking that previous brush and I'm just blending out the edges of where the shimmer meets the mattes. And then I'm finishing it up with the shade Poppin', which is going to be my highlight. I'm also taking it in a diagonal, slightly on top of that other shade. Yes, that's beautiful. I'm so glad that this palette really has everything you need to make any kind of colorful look. As you can see, I'm also highlighting underneath the lower lash line. I took it a little bit too far, but I'll fix that. Just going in with that original brush and a little bit of the shade 13. I'm just putting that on top. Now it looks a little bit more like I want it to look. There you have it. That's my ethereal cotton candy look. I'm going to add some liner, lashes, my face makeup, and I'll show you the finished look. I'm back. This is my final look for today. So I think the eyeshadow in the end was a little bit less pastel than I was going for, but I do really like this look. I decided to combine it with the Mikayla lashes. These are in the style Daydreamer from the second collab. And I paired it with a turquoise eyeliner from Chanel. I used my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, Pat McGrath Concealer, Essence Powder. They're almost done. You're almost never going to hear from them again. Until I repurchase, of course. Then I have my blush is Chanel in the old formula in the shade, let me think if I know this, Rose Initial. Then I have my cream bronzer from Makeup Revolution, which I'm currently testing out. And I have my Dior highlighter from the highlighting palette. This one. And then finally I finished it up with my Blitz lipstick from Pat McGrath in the shade Nude Romantique. So that's my look for today. I did my makeup a little bit earlier today, so I'm going to wear this for the full day. So I'm very excited about that. So this was my final look. Thank you so much for watching this video. Consider subscribing if you liked my looks, and I'll see you in the next one.